Hello, I'm Lucy Michael, and today, on behalf of Fingal County Council Community Development Office, I'm hosting a conversation with a woman active in local leadership in our area in celebration of International Women's Day. Today, I'm joined by Bridie O'Reilly of Fingal Older People's Council. Bridie, thank you so much for being with us today. I'm looking forward to this chat so much. Would you mind starting by telling us a little bit about the role that you are currently taking in your community?
Yes, my role in Fingal Older People, I'm chairperson at the moment, and we are a group of 21 people, older people, and our role is to look at problems and issues that older people would have in the areas of communication, transport, health, housing, the big issues. And we're not an advocacy group as such, but we progress the issues to Fingal Alliance. They're the stakeholders in the Fingal area. The stakeholders would be the people with the power who can move things along and get things done. The Fingal Older People's Council are one of 31 older people's councils around the country. There's one in every county in Ireland. So we have a national older people's meet 3 or 4 times a year. And that's very informative because you hear what other people are doing in their community. So it can be inspiring and empowering and all of that. And it's great in with other people. And as well as that, I'm on a housing committee. This housing committee was set up in 2019 to progress the issue of older people and housing, because as people may be aware, in the past, we didn't look at houses for life in Ireland. We built houses for families. It was like 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom houses, with the result that when your family is reared, you might have a house that's too big for you. You can't maintain it. And it's rather than in the past, we thought that somebody would be better off in a nursing home. So the nursing homes were almost a warehouse for older people. Now we've come to the understanding that it doesn't have to be. We can all live at home independently for as long as possible. If we need care at some stage, there is now integrated care. So the Department of Health, Department of Housing, so with the housing implementation group, we were looking at houses that needed adaptation. And so 4 research projects were undertaken during the life of this group. And I'm one of 2 older people on this group. And I represent the voice of the older people. And the first time in the history of the state, actually, that an older person has been on a national committee. And it's an ordinary lay person. And it's also the first time in history that 2 departments, the Department of Health and Department of Housing, have come together to work together to progress the issue of housing and health for older people. One of the guides that's going to be published soon is a home rating system. And so as part of the National Older People's Council, with this home rating system, we got to look at the draft copy and to answer questions. And one of the women there actually said she hadn't been out her back garden for over a year because she has health issues. They're progressing and she's not able for the steps. Now, that's not something that any of us would have thought about if we were buying our house or moving to a house, and all of that would have a knock-on effect. And the next thing, that woman would be in a nursing home, So it's a very exciting prospect for all of us older people to know that there's solutions to the problems that we've had in the past.
Well, Bridie, it sounds like the work that you are doing with the Older People's Council is really important, not just in getting suitable housing and resources for older people, but also in really shoring up that social connection that we need in our communities. What's important for you in community leadership?
Well, for me, community is all about giving back. And leadership is part of that. I wouldn't not necessarily see myself as a leader, but I am somebody who is active in the community. interest maybe, and I see that as almost a duty. I think I was reared in a family who always believed that you had to give back to society. That came to mean more to me when my family were growing up, and my sons would have been involved in the scouts, and my daughter would be in the guides, and they'd be going to their football and their music lessons and stuff like that. And I saw how powerful these small groups were and how important they were for my children. And one thing led to another, and that's what happens when you get involved in the community. Like, it's an amazing thing, and I would encourage people always to look to your community for ways of getting things done and helping, and being more involved, because one thing leads to another. Like, I started off in a very small way, and the next thing I was invited to do a diploma course as a result, a diploma course, which was very exciting. And at first I was going to say no. I didn't think I'd be capable, and that in that leadership, or in that, my apologies, in that course with the Action Net, they were teaching us all about leadership. And after a couple of weeks, they brought us all together in a circle in a room and said, we want you to look at your community, and we want you to look at what your community needs. What do you think? Could you set up a project that would be valuable to your community? So I didn't hesitate. I don't know where the words came from, but they were going to do this over a course of 2 weeks. First round, I told them I want to set up a community band, and I did. With great difficulty, a lot of struggle, a lot of challenges. I learned a lot. It was eye-opening, and that band is still going. It's 40 years in Finglas Concert and Marching Band. Now, I'm no longer involved. I haven't been involved. I set it up and ran with it for 6 years. And then I handed it over to another committee, and they ran with it. And, they kept in touch with me. And then I moved from the area. So I thought, well, that's the end of that. That's my band gone. It was heartbreaking, I have to say. It was like another baby. But I moved away, and surely enough, they continued to call on me for occasions. And 2 of those occasions were marching down Fifth Avenue in New York, and leading my band. And so we had very exciting times there. We played for the Irish consulate in New York, but marching down Fifth Avenue. And at one stage, at the first occasion was just mind-blowing. I thought my heart would burst, and the second time was no different, equally. And I could hear my name being called out, and here's Finglas Concert and Marching Band with Bridie O'Reilly set it up. Oh my God, I was blown away. I forgot about the cold.
Well, Bridie, that is an incredible project to set up a marching band. And obviously, it came to you because you'd been so embedded in your community. You recognized that what the kids in your community needed was both a point of pride in their neighborhood and in themselves. And what a legacy to leave 40 years later for that band still to be going. And in your new area now, you've moved into the area of advocacy for older people. Quite a different area, but clearly making quite a lot of impact there, and creating a network around that. So important to creating community in different ways. You've given us great examples today of building our own communities and how important that is at every age of our lives. Can we move now, Bridie, to talking about the roles that women leaders have in our community particularly, and how important that is?
Well, of course, traditionally, it has been a male model of managing, and women would have stayed at home, and they would have been doing some work in the community. Even I remember, as in my own childhood, the women would be maybe in the church doing the flowers. They still do that in most places, and making tea and coffee for different organizations and groups, and coming together as women to knit and sew and to learn about crafts and to chat about their lives. So women have always gelled together in a community type of way, and that has held our country together, because when it came to volunteering, they were likely people who would volunteer, especially if it was something that had never been done before and it didn't seem to be very important. But it was important, and the women would do it and be doing it quietly for time. And so I think leadership, and we should look at it in a different way, because women are very capable and it's very empowering to be in a community and working in the community and doing something that you love and seeing the results.
What do you see as the biggest challenge for young women doing community leadership, and what advice would you give to them?
I think my advice would be to seek support, and if you're joining something that is already in existence, or if you're setting something up, you feel that there's a need to set something up, find the support and build a network of people. Don't be afraid to ask for advice, and yes, and when you achieve something, be proud of it, take ownership of it.
Taking credit for the work that you do is important because, of course, getting that recognition means you can leverage that. You can build it up to bigger opportunities and really have impact in your community. And that's a great suggestion about building your network and really getting that help in and making sure that there are people standing beside you when you need to move on with community action. Thanks, Bridie. That's great advice. Bridie, let's finish with our last question, which is, why do you think International Women's Day is important?
Well, I think it's just fantastic that we have a day where we can celebrate women, because women are amazing and we have talents and skills, and sometimes we hide our light under a bushel, and International Women's Day is a day to come out into the light and be proud of who we are. And it's not that we want to be better than men, we just want to be equal, and to share. It's important that we share our skills, but we have to, in the future, look for new ways to manage, because our skills dictate that we do things differently. So we should be educating ourselves in that respect, and manage to our abilities, not to the power game and the politics of the male dominated leadership.
Bridie, thank you so much for being with me today. Bridie O'Reilly, Chair of the Fingal Older People's Council. We've learned a lot from you today, Bridie, about the need to advocate in our communities, how leadership can change across the course of our life, the importance of being embedded in our communities so that we really see how to fill the gaps that are there. And of course, that brilliant advice about building your network and taking credit for your work. Bridie, thank you for being with me, and happy International Women's Day.
Oh, thank you so much, Lucy. It was a pleasure. I really enjoyed it, and happy Women's Day to you too. Let's have a great time.